Good morning. Well, we finished at last finally being able to get the stock off of the rifle, and that was an adventure in itself, and one that took quite a while, and certainly my wife enjoyed there being drilling and hammering it at 9 o'clock at night, but I had to get it done. It was just one of those things where I wouldn't have been able to sleep if I hadn't been able to get the stock off the barrel, but I did. And now we have two separate projects to do. We have the barrel and the receiver, and we have the stock. The stock is a mess. I mean, in some aspects it's in pretty good shape, but in other aspects it's in bad shape. And that's going to probably be a series of videos as I work through getting the stock back up to where it needs to be. But first, what I want to do is we're going to work on the barrel and the receiver. This is the barrel and the receiver off of my Colombian short rifle. It has a barrel that's 21.5 inches long, and that's one thing. Uh, from what I understand, and somebody out there correct me if I'm wrong. I've always said, what's the difference between a short rifle and a carbine? And what was explained to me is that you have a rifle. These rifles, the Mausers, were 29 inches long, the original, the granddaddies of these things. So they decided to make them shorter, and the way that they made, and so what they did was they shortened the barrel. They didn't necessarily cut the barrel, but they shortened the barrel down. And down to, if it's a barrel that is above 20 inches, then it's considered a short rifle. 20 inches and below are considered a carbine. They make these short rifles, they make them in carbine, and the carbine is about 18 inches long. So I think that's always been a question of mine, and if somebody has a better or correct answer, then please let me know, and we'll put that out here for people. But until then, that's what we'll live with. Anyway, so this thing, luckily, there was no damage done to the receiver down where the screws go in. I didn't drill down that far that I would damage those, so they're in good shape. There's some pitting and some rusting. Uh, there's that's the what is it, the R ramage that you saw on the other barrel. You can see that it's a little bit different on this one. I'm trying to think if you can even see a date on it. I see the 19th, and that's about it on it because it's rusted off. On the other side, there where on the other rifle, it talks about it being a steer. It's not there because this is what normally happened. Apparently, was when they put the ramage on there, they would scrub the steer because it was no longer a steer rifle. It has the 30 on it, which says that 30-06. Um, there's just really no other markings on it other than underneath. There's some letters. Actually, it looks like Chinese letters, but they're letters. It says 3006, so 30-06. And then these letters stand for the company that imported the gun. The importation stamps from the major importers of these guns, they stamp them, and they're required to do that. And can't read on this one. When we get to the other rifle, I'll tell you what exactly there is on those. So the major issue on this barrel that was a major issue, and it's not really so much anymore, is the pitting. What happens is that it was sitting obviously in a wet area for a period of time, and you can see, well, let's see, it looks pretty nasty, I know, but it's pretty not superficial, but it's not bad enough to ruin the gun. The guidelines that I was given when I did some research with some in a gunsmith group was that you can lose up to 1/2 of the thickness of your barrel to pitting and still be okay. And when you think about it, like for instance up here, there's a set screw in there, and other people get other stuff put on their barrels that they drill a hole in to do it. And if you ever look at that hole, it's a pretty deep hole. So it looks like a pretty deep hole. And there's one right up here that holds the the rear sight on, and they look pretty deep, but they're certainly safe enough. So the general consensus among the gunsmith group, the Facebook gunsmith group, which I rely on for a lot of information, is that yeah, go ahead and shoot it. It's going to be fine. Won't look good, but hey, it's not the only gun that I own that has a lot of pitting on it. So I mean, it's earned its pitting. So what happened? Yeah, it sat in the wood and was moist, and I mean South America, and it rusted. And that's what happens. Metal gets sitting in water like that, and it's going to rust. My rear sight, you can see there's some problems with that. There's a spring. You can see the spring is broken off. It's broken off right here, and it's just a piece of metal that goes up underneath here, the leaf of the sight, and it holds it down instead of letting it bounce up like that. That's an easy fix. All I'm going to do is drive the pin out and then replace this. There's a thing right there. What you do is you put a screwdriver in that and you tap it, and the spring should come out, and then just reverse it to put the spring back in. I'll put that, when I put the spring back in, I'll put it on because it is a little bit tricky. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think, I believe I did the Enfield number Mark III spring. I put that on, and it's kind of difficult because it goes underneath the leaf. So when you put it in, you have to push down on the leaf so you can line up these holes, and then you stick it in. And you think, well, that's just a little piece of metal. It's not that strong. Well, it'll kick your ass. It's a pretty strong spring to put in there. We need a front sight. I got the sight ramp, but there's no sight in it. One of the next big, back here, I guess you can still see some rust and pitting, and it looks nasty on the video here, but from what I've seen and what I've done, it's really not that nasty at all. It actually will clean up nice, and well, you'll see when it's done. It'll clean up nice. The next question is the barrel. I looked inside the barrel, and I could see that it was certainly not the worst barrel that I've ever seen. So I ran some, I think I did a video on this too, but I ran some really soaked patches. That doesn't really do justice for the color, but some wet patches through the barrel, and tried to get rid of some of the loose stuff that was in there. And the patches, they feel gritty, like there's rust on it. So I did that, and then I took the patches and I rolled them up, and I stuck them inside the chamber, and I let it all sit there for a good half hour or so. Then I took it out, and I ran a brush, just a nylon brush, through it. I don't know, probably 50 times. And then I ran some patches through it to see where I was, and I was surprised because the barrel, the inside is actually in pretty good shape. There's some plenty of rifling left inside. There's some pitting, but not as bad as you would think. And so the barrel itself is actually in pretty good shape inside and out. Um, what I plan to do today is I plan to take and do a bore scope on the rifle just to see what is going on inside there, because you can't see, and I want to make sure that there isn't any patches in there that are rusted and that might match up against the rust that we have out here and make it a barrel that's unsafe to shoot. I'm lucky that I have a bore scope. My son gave that to me last year for Christmas, I think, for my birthday, which today is my birthday, by the way. It's the 22nd. So what I did was and I'm going to do it again. I don't know if you can see. Try to turn this. Here's my vise. So what I have, excuse the mess. So what I have here is my vise. And I've had these little rubber things that I bought. They're cheap, they're 15 bucks or so. They've lasted me quite a while. I don't know if you, hopefully you can hear me still. So you put it in there, and that makes things so much easier for cleaning and for using the bore scope and doing things like that. And, and and that way there you can just put it in and you don't have to hold on to the barrel, and it holds it very secure, and nothing's going to happen to it. So like I said, I'm going to later use the bore scope and go through, see how bad of a mess that is. I guess it's not too bad. And maybe the next video that I do, I'll post a couple of pictures of what it looks like inside. I think it just from a visual, it looks pretty good. It looks like there's a lot of rifling left on it, so which is why I was really concerned about the outside, that it might have been too pitted to be able to be shot, because I mean you don't often get an old rifle like I have that has rifling still left in it, so or at least not like that anyway. The rifle itself, the barrel itself, I realized was changed over in the 50s, even though it's a 1912. The barrel was changed when they changed it over to 30-06, and but still, it looks to me as though this gun had not been taken care of very well, and that's good. Those are the ones I like. I like them rusty and crusty, and I'll take them all day. People want to give them to me or whatever, then I'll take them all day, because it gives me something to do. So that's the barrel and the receiver, and as I progress, I will do more videos. Okay, well, thank you for watching.